welcome back to the Sheldon Show. So, what I want to talk about today is education. As an educator, this is obviously something that I'm very passionate about. The only reason why I have been able to accomplish the things that I have accomplished in my life is because of an education. So this is something that I'm very passionate about. I've been teaching for years, teaching at the college level, and so I realize what education can do, or the difference that an education can make in someone's life. However, I feel like we have, or I believe that as educators, we've made a huge mistake when it comes to how we promote education. And this is what I'm getting at. Education is too narrowly defined, right? Education is too narrowly defined. Now let's speculate for a little while about what is education, or its purpose, or its role, which I think is perhaps more appropriate. The role that an education can play in your life is that it can afford you, right, certain opportunities. So if you take advantage of, going to high school and graduating, and if you go to college or whatever the case is, or if you learn a trade or whatever the case is, that is an education. That role that it can play in your life is that it can make life easier. So let me get back to the mistake I feel like a lot of us have made, a lot of us educators have made. When we talk about education, a lot of times what we do is, especially when we're looking at high school and even college to a great extent, all we do is we talk about a college degree. Education is more than going to your traditional college or university and getting your traditional associate in business, bachelor's in business or English, master's or whatever the case is, or a doctorate. Education is more than just your standard college degree. And because of what I feel this mistake that we've made by narrowly defining education, is what we've done is I think we've caused a lot of young people, right, who don't want to go to college, who don't want to get a bachelor's degree in business or whatever the case is, who don't want to ever have intentions or ambitions of getting a PhD or whatever the case is. I feel like we've caused a lot of those people to feel like they can't do anything, right? I did some research years ago with a professor at UT San Antonio, and the nature of the research wasn't about education per se, but while I was out doing field work and I was, helping people complete surveys and questionnaires and whatever the case is, I was having these conversations with a lot of young people, and I held focus groups with a lot of young people. And I realized at that point that a lot of them did not want to go to college, right? They didn't want to go to college, but they had other dreams and other ambitions and things that they wanted to do. And I think those things need to be encouraged as well. Not every single person wants to get a college degree. And almost every time you hear someone talk about education now, or on TV or whatever the case is, they're talking about college, college, college. Well, the truth is, people can go to college for more than just getting your standard bachelor's or associate degree in business or English or whatever the case is. People can be plumbers, they can be electricians, they can be carpenters or whatever the case is. Those are all college degrees, maybe more at the community college level, right? But it still is an education. And so I feel like one of the reasons we have high unemployment and we have a lot of criminal activity and young people who are astray and can't figure out what they want to do with their lives, it's because they won't encourage to pursue other avenues of education other than your traditional college degree. And perhaps if we had encouraged, or we start to encourage young people to become plumbers or electricians or whatever the case is, to do whatever they want to do, other than going and getting a college degree, you know, then we're going to continue to have, I think, high unemployment in certain places, or have people who have skills that are not developed. So let's think about what an education is. Education to me is about learning, right? I don't think you need to know a theory, right? I don't think you need to know Bandura's social learning theory, right? Or the self-identity theory, or whatever the case is, to have a good life, right? I don't think you need to know theories so you can have a good life. I think you need to have skills, so that were skills that you could transfer and take to the workplace, so that you can earn a living, so that you could, you know, you can provide for yourself, you can provide for your family. And you can do that without getting your traditional college type of degree. So that's a mistake that I feel like we've made, and we continue to make. We continue to tell a lot of people in the conversations we have, how many people are going to college? How many people are doing it? That is nice. I'm all for education, right? I have several degrees. I'm all for education, but not everybody wants to get your typical college degree. And if we continue to force that down people's throats, so to speak, continue to push them in one direction, or have a one-directional conversation when we talk about education, then the problem that we're going to have is that we have people who don't want to go to college, and we're not encouraging them to develop their other skill sets. As I said, plumbing, electricians, whatever. We need those people in society too, right? So how could we deal with a lot of the problems that we have in certain neighborhoods like Chicago or Baltimore or whatever the case is? Well, I think education is one reason, but not education the way a lot of people would think about it. I think trade schools are one thing that perhaps need to be pushed, because I don't think we're going to arrest ourselves out of the situation that we're in. You know, whether you're in the United States of America or whether you are in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where I'm from, we have some rough neighborhoods there as well, where we have high crime rates in some of those neighborhoods. And whether you're here in the U.S. or you're here, or it's back in Trinidad and Tobago, we're not going to arrest our way out of the problems that we're facing in a lot of these neighborhoods. We're not going to, because the cycle is producing, as many as we're arresting, the cycle is producing, right, those people to come back on the streets as well, more people to replace those that have been arrested. So we've got to look at alternative ways to doing this. So arresting people is not going to work. We need to talk about education. And I'm not necessarily talking about getting a 4-year bachelor's degree. I'm talking about developing skill sets. We need to put trade schools in place. You know, YouTube, I'm on YouTube right now, is a big thing. Well, maybe we need to have programs where people can learn Photoshop in trade schools, in community centers, right? And how to do editing and that type of stuff. For YouTuber, it's a job, right? And I think if someone is gainfully employed and they can make some money and they can develop their skill sets, then they're less likely to be a criminal. They're less likely to not have anything to do and have idle time. So my thing is, as educators, we need to stop, and it's not all of us, and I understand that, so I'm not speaking in general terms, but there needs to be more of a push. As much as we're pushing people to go to college, right, we need to start pushing people the same way to go towards alternative forms of education. Trade schools, and community colleges play a role in that. And there are a lot of good community colleges that do that, right? But that needs to be something that's discussed in the high school setting even more. Education is more than a college degree, right? Education could mean trade schools as well. If you have an honest job and you're making an honest living and you can put food on the table and you're happy, and that is what success is to you, then you're successful. You don't have to have a college degree to be successful, right? You don't have to have a college degree to live well. What you have to have is a set of skill sets that you could do something with, that you could provide, you could put food on the table, right? And that you could make yourself somebody, right? And you don't need a college degree to make yourself somebody. You need an education to make yourself somebody. And education doesn't mean that you need to get a 4-year college degree. Education means that you need to learn something. You need to be able to do something to be able to provide for yourself. And I think that's one of the things that we can do if we're gonna, you know, be able to deal with some of the problems that we have in a lot of the communities where we have issues of high unemployment, because a lot of people, they have no skills, right? They left college, they left high school. A lot of these people didn't go to college, but they have no skill sets, no skills. We need trade schools. We need those apprenticeship programs to be able to kind of make up for that. So I'm all for college, don't get me wrong. I went to college, you know, it's helped me get where I am today. But college and education is more than just one thing, and we need to stop narrowly defining it. And then we need to stop trying to have people live their lives through our lives. Not because college worked for me, it means that it's for everybody. What you need is an honest living, and you can get an honest living by doing other things. So I just kind of wanted to say that and you know, kind of put it out there. Education is about learning, and it's not just about learning theories. It's about learning how to, it's about taking a skill set that you have and turning it into something where you could be make an honest living and live a good life, right? So thank you again for tuning in to the Sheldon Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments below. This is a discussion that I would love to have. Let me hear what you have to say. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out the other videos and other interviews that I have up, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for joining me again.